All right. We Let's now start. We are about 126. That is a good number. Now, I know most of you are expecting to have the cat, but we have had challenges again, some challenges here and there. Um, Seemingly, we will not have the cat in short. Um, but let me advise you to take all the activities you are doing weekly, take them very seriously. Um, by now, most of you should be on week 5, so take them seriously. In online teaching, sometimes those activities are used to grade you. We may decide to select 5 of them, and then we grade you. So take all the activities seriously. We were to have a cat, and then we have just received word that you won't be able. I think those of you who have been close to your friends who attempted the cat yesterday must have given you some information. But we will give you direction. Don't worry. So let's move on. Our next topic is evaluation of information sources. This must be topic 6. And today, our expected learning outcomes are explaining the importance of evaluating information sources in academic research and professional contexts. Critically analyze information sources, outline the criteria for evaluating information sources, and then apply criteria for evaluating information sources to assess the quality and suitability of sources for academic research. So in other words, we are saying not every source you find on Google or Google Scholar or MyLoft, not every source is suitable for your use. To evaluate is basically to give a judgment. You look at the quality and decide whether this source is relevant or not. Because when you go online, you'll find so many sources, but you need to have a certain criteria that enables you to choose a source to support or to bolster your research. As you said in academic writing, you want to give evidence, you want to support your argument with evidence. And so you cannot just give any evidence. Evidence must be quality, evidence must be assessed. So you must judge and decide that this is the best source for my use. And that is why this topic is important. So in the context of information literacy, evaluation of sources means assessing whether the information retrieved meets the needs of the researcher and whether it's able to help the researcher complete a task at hand. So you want to see whether this particular source is relevant and is of good quality. So sometimes you may have a very good argument, but when we look at your reference list, we don't see any serious source you have cited. If your sources are very weak, it means that even the argument you have tried to come up with is also weak. So your evidence, the quality of your argument is determined by the quality of evidence. So what is the importance of evaluating our sources? One, to judge the quality and appropriateness of the information. So we want to look at the quality of of the evidence. Can we be talking about a very serious topic? But when you look at what you have quoted, you have just cited from a blogger. Because a blogger can say anything. Some of them just rely on rumors. In fact, sometimes even journalistic sources may not be reliable, may not be reliable, because somebody can just wake up and concoct an article from their mind. In fact, in law, they say that newspaper articles are rumors. In law, that's what they say. Because you don't have any evidence. You have not interviewed people. You have not used questionnaires. You have not used surveys. You have not gone to the lab to conduct an experiment. And therefore, your evidence is not reliable. Lennox, can you stop your gimmicks? You are disrupting people with your funny pictures. So number two, to verify the accuracy and reliability of the information. Is the information dependable? Is it accurate? So when you evaluate, you determine the accuracy of that information. You determine also the reliability of that information. Is it dependable? Because if they are just rumors, we cannot rely on rumors. A good source of information must show scientific methodology to find expert views, opinions, and research on your topic. So we do this to see what the experts have said. Experts are people who have done a lot in that area, and they have cogent evidence of what they say. An expert is someone who has studied an area for very long, and they have tried to use cogent evidence to support their claims. So experts are reliable. So that's why it's good for us to evaluate sources to see whether it is an expert who has come up with that view. To use and cite the information accessed. So we evaluate before we cite. And so if many people cite you, if many people cite your work, it shows that you are a reputable scholar. You are a trusted scholar. It means they trust you. They trust your information. They trust your information. And we also do this to get the most relevant information for your topic. If your topic is in psychoanalysis, you must look for experts in psychoanalysis. You cannot cite from a source from security studies, and yet your area is in psychoanalysis. So we evaluate to find the right sources for our topics. So the criteria, what's the criteria for choosing sources? One is authority. We look at the creator of the content. Who is he? Or who is she? If this person is a very serious expert in an area, then we call that authority. Like I just told you, people like Frantz Fanon. Frantz Fanon was a great expert in both psychoanalysis, and also a great expert in post-colonialism. So we have to look at this person. A person who's an expert is an authority in that area, and always choose people who are well known, who are greatly cited, because they are authorities in those particular areas. You don't just pick somebody who has written a blog. That is not expertise. That's not expertise. So what are the author's academic qualifications? For example, if an author is a professor, author has a PhD, he's more respected than an author who is just who has just one degree or who does not have any qualifications. Somebody has written a book and is just a Form 4 leaver. That person is not an authority in that area. And that's how life is. That is how life is. If you are not an expert, you are not an authority, and nobody will listen to you. So if you want to listen to even videos and podcasts, listen to podcasts of experts. Cite podcasts from experts. Don't just cite podcasts from people who don't have any serious qualification. So is the author affiliated to any reputable university? Is he teaching in a university or not? What else has the author published? Try to see the works that this author has published. And that will enable you to. And sometimes, if you just want to know somebody, sometimes it's just easy. Sometimes it's just easy. You just go to Google Scholar. You just go to Google Scholar and you place the name of that person there. For example, if you go to Google Scholar and place the name of our Vice Chancellor there, have you ever tried? If you do that, you will discover that he has more than 2,000 citations. Our Vice Chancellor has more than 2,000 citations. And so that means he is an authority in his area. He's an authority in his area. So is the information provided such that you can contact the author? Who is the publisher? Now, the publisher is very important. Don't just pick any work. Don't just pick any work. A work published, which is self-published, is not authoritative. A self-published person may just publish his work because of money. Because of money. So always look for traditional publishers. And there's some publishers who are more respected than others. For example, Oxford. Oxford is very much respected than maybe these other publishers. So avoid self-published works. They are not authoritative. They are not authoritative. The second one is currency. Currency. So look for works that are not very old, and basically look for works that are not more than 5 years. Especially in the natural sciences, like where most of you are. When it comes to computer science, when it comes to business areas, please avoid or IT, avoid works that are older than 5 years. But in the humanities, like history, that is allowed, because in history, in fact, the older the book, the better. The older the book, the better. So in history and humanities, we may allow for what we call classicals. But when it comes to natural sciences or empirical sciences, don't cite a work which is very, very old. Cite recent sources. So look for editions. If a work was published earlier, but it has the latest edition, then choose the latest edition. So currency is very important when you are evaluating work. Can you stop drawing? I'm going to throw people outside the class, out of the class. Those people who are missing Nanda kuona tu. I'm going to throw you out. Do not draw. Don't use the whiteboard. That's what I'm saying. So accuracy is the correctness of content, and this determines that the information. This determines the truthfulness of information. So look at the facts. Are they accurate? Look at the references. Are they accurate? And that's why sometimes you're supposed to use do or eyes or even links like APA. APA requires that you use links so that we are able to follow up and see those sources. Are there grammatical errors? If a work is well edited, if a work passes through the right procedure, it will not have grammatical mistakes. So mostly when you see grammatical mistakes, it shows that the source is not credible. Is there a flow of information? For example, is there coherence between objectives and conclusion? Yeah, that is what we call accuracy. That's what we call accuracy. Look at the charts and graphs. Are they accurate? Are they accurate, or they do not align with other parts of the paper? So accuracy is a very important element of evaluating sources. See this guy now who has just Itabia, like some of you, it's like you just want to be locked out completely. I'm saying audibility iko chini, we can't hear you. How does let's finish the lesson before I answer this. Audibility iko chini. Why are you saying audibility iko chini? Maybe because we are 172. Today we are many. But let me try and speak up so that you can hear. So don't use the whiteboard. Because when you dirty my work, people cannot also see it properly. Some people are following using these particular slides. So don't use the whiteboard, and I will just follow it up. I will follow you up and throw you outside the class. So we are saying accuracy is a very important element. Of assessing. Another way of evaluating content is you look at the content, look at the message and see whether it's relevant to your work. If your work is computer science, read the article. Maybe the article is talking about literature. So you cannot focus on such a source. That one, you just move on to another one. Because as we have said, when you go online, the sources are so many. And it's upon you to evaluate and choose the right source for your study. Yeah. So look at the subject, the topic of your article. Has the source covered what is required in your topic? Yeah. If it's not relevant, just move on and look for another source. Is the source more specific, and does it provide background information? Yeah. So in research, when you go to my loft, you'll find so many of these articles. So you need to be a good evaluator. For you to make the right judgment, for you to make the right choice. If you cannot make the right judgment, you'll end up with very wrong sources, waste the time reading irrelevant material, and sometimes you don't have time. Maybe you just have 2 hours to write that paper before you go to the next class. So you need to make a decision very fast. If something is relevant, don't waste time there. And always use specific keywords for you to choose the right sources. If you use wrong keywords, try to narrow the search such that you get sources that are more related to your topic. So are the terms and content too simplified to be useful? So again, if the content is too simple, such that it does not have any specialized words related to your topic, then you need to throw away that source. Because as we said, academic writing is specialized and it has special usages. Special words are used relevant to your area. Have the current establishments in the field been updated? Yeah. Is it talking about the current conversations in your field, or is just Vincent? I'm going to throw you out of the class. Don't use the whiteboard. I don't know how many times. Some of you know what you watch. Yeah. So is the tone and treatment of the information appropriate for the intended audience? So in academic writing, the tone should be objective. A writer should not use what we call subjective tones. It should not try to be subjective. That means do not have prejudice. Do not have prejudice against certain topics. You need to be very, very, very objective. So the tone should be objective. And then the scope. Look at the coverage of the source. Does the coverage, take into attention, all the demands of the topic? Is the coverage enough for your topic? One needs to understand, Joshua, what are you doing? One needs to understand the need for the information and decide how in-depth information has to be. So an overview of the topic should be broad, and so look for, pick what is more relevant to your topic. Pick what is more relevant to the topic, and also look at how much he has covered. If the thing is too narrow, avoid that source. If a book has 20 chapters and only one paragraph talks about your topic, you don't need to pick such a book from the library. Look for another book which will have more coverage of your topic. Look for another book which has more coverage of your topic than that one there. That book will just waste you. There's no need taking a book that has only one topic, one paragraph. it won't help you, and yet you need a lot of information. And that's why sometimes even the articles are very important, because you can find an article which addresses so many aspects of your topic, and also, so I think the best way, it has become a game. So let me throw out some people for them to learn some lesson. This is in discipline, and some of you think that we are just here to joke. Ukiambiwa maneno hausikii. So I've thrown that one outside class, and I know them. Hata kuna mwingine hapa yeah, so it's just become a joke. Adults are supposed to be very disciplined. I don't like misbehaved adults. People who are the adults, but they cannot behave like adults. That's why they may end up in prison. They may end up in prison. They end up in prison when other people are doing maendeleo. Wewe unaweza kwa prison for 10 years. Yeah, so I'll remove you. I know how to control my meeting. So I will throw you out. I will throw you out. Kuna mwingine anaitwa Joshua hapa. Hata Joshua, ulichora vitu hapa. If you do that, I'm going to throw you out of the class. We don't want indisciplined people. Let's have discipline. We are adults and not to behave like kids. So look at the scope. As I've said, don't pick a book from the shelf which has only one topic, which has only one topic or one paragraph relevant to your topic. It is a waste. So also look for objectivity. This is somebody who is fair, is not prejudiced towards something. So when evaluating a source, you have to determine whether the information it provides is a fact or opinion. Facts are well illustrated by scientific evidence, but opinions are just statements. Like most newspaper articles are just opinions. Even when you read stories, like when you read The Samaritan by John Lara, those are just opinions of John Lara. They are not facts. Scientific writing demands facts. It deals with research and therefore gives evidence. So when you are judging, try to see whether the writer is just portraying their emotions or they have enough evidence with what they are saying. Yeah? And therefore, objectivity is very important. Don't pick works which are prejudiced, somebody using harsh words like, oh, foolish, or stupid, or what. That is prejudice. When you start saying, oh, certain people are foolish, already you are prejudiced. In academic writing, we don't use such words. We are not prejudiced. So is the information presented fairly from a neutral point of view? So it should be neutral. And through the choice of words, you should see that neutrality. Is there a specific motive for presenting the information? Is somebody presenting this article with a certain prejudice, a certain view? Is it trying to promote a certain agenda? Are all sides of the story presented? If you are talking about gender, are you trying to look for both feminine and masculine gender fairly? Or you are prejudiced towards one gender? If you are prejudiced towards one gender, then that is not objectivity. That is called subjectivity. Subjectivity is where you are prejudiced towards a certain viewpoint. So what's the purpose of the information? Is somebody trying to push a religious agenda or a political agenda? Like most politicians, when they are talking about their political parties, they are not objective. they are subjective. They are trying to promote their view and trying to do away or trying to attack, yeah, bring down their opponents. So try to ensure that there is objectivity. Is the author moderate or extreme in presenting their views? Yeah. So a good writer should not be, academic writer should not be extreme. They should be moderate. Is there a conflict of interest? For example, if I teach you about my book, that is conflict of interest because it is my book. So there is no way I will criticize myself. So if I come and teach you about my book, I will try and speak very nice about my book so that you can read and cite it. And that is conflict of interest. For example, someone like me, I cannot go to my literature students and then I try give them my book as a what? As one of the set texts, and then I try to force them to buy. That is called conflict of interest, because I want my students to do what? To love me and also to buy my book. I'm not being objective as an author, so that is conflict of interest. And even you, for example, when you become a worker outside there, do not go into a government institution, and then use your office to benefit yourself. When you use your office to benefit yourself, that is called conflict of interest. Like there was a governor somewhere in this Kenya who appointed the husband as a minister. That is conflict of interest. You want to benefit yourself. Is there advertising? Advertisers are always biased because they want to promote their goods. They are not objective. They are not objective. They are not objective. So read carefully so that if there is advertisement, you get to know. You get to know. And as I've said, an advertiser is a marketer, and a marketer is not objective. Then the purpose. What's the purpose of that particular article? You need to understand why that writer has written that piece. Is it to inform, to entertain, to sell, to persuade, to damage? So if you are selling something, already you are biased. If you are selling something, you are biased. In academic writing, we don't write with an intention of selling. You can write a newspaper article to praise somebody, but you cannot write a scientific work to praise someone. No. In science, we are not interested in praises because that's an element of bias. That is not objectivity. So, what's the purpose? Is he writing to persuade? To persuade is to convince using reasons. And remember, I was talking about persuasive writing, where you take a stand, and then you persuade the audience using evidence. So, but avoid purposes like selling. Yeah, if an article is meant to sell something, already it is biased, and that is not academic writing. What is the aim of the information? Yeah, is the goal to inform, or is it just meant to be obsequious towards somebody, to be a sycophant? So we are not here to just praise people. We need to look at issues soberly and with reason or reasonably, or with reason. In academic writing, reason is number one. Reason is number one. It's not about feelings. I like that person. So scientific writing is not about just praising people, how the first president was good. We want evidence of that goodness. If he is bad, is greedy, is whatever. We want evidence of that. And we want serious evidence. We are not just interested in rumors. We are not just interested in rumors. The evidence must be a substantive, and it must be something reliable. It must be true. It must be true. It must be true. That is something that we can confirm. It must be a fact. Is the information propaganda? Yeah. So when we read, try to look at these tones. With the propaganda, you just praise people. Waswahili wanasema uvumi wa uongo, uvumi wa uongo. You are just there to praise people, but when people look at the evidence, they go to the ground, they don't see anything. So when you get propaganda piece, don't cite from it. And that's why be very careful, especially with the like journalistic articles. Most of them do not they don't have credible sources. Most of them do not have credible sources. That's why in law, they say that, newspaper articles are what? Um, are what? Are rumors. In law, that's what they say. They say they are rumors. Now, I'm not saying all newspaper articles, but some of them are rumors because we need to research so that we give evidence to what we say. Does the point of view seem unbiased or objective? So try to find out and look at the ideology also, the ideology, the religious beliefs, the religious beliefs. If somebody is a very serious Christian or Muslim, sometimes they may want to support their ideology. So we also need to interrogate that so that we don't end up with a work of art that is not scientific. That is not scientific. Um, Also interrogate the intended audience. What is the intended audience? But in academic writing, mostly we write to scholars, we write to experts, we write to students in universities or in institutions of higher learning. And that's why I told you academic writing is the highest. In gradation is the highest form of writing. And that's why we don't entertain jokes, we don't entertain biased views, we don't entertain rumors. We don't. This is very serious type of writing. And if you do it very well, academic writing can take you places. If you do it very well, academic writing can take you places. You can win grants. You can solve problems in the society. It can make you a very powerful professor who is cited by more than 20,000 people. You can go all over the world. I know one of my mentors who taught me when I was in campus. Now for him going to China is like, is like us going to Maragua. Today is in China, tomorrow is in Greece, the other day is in South Africa, the day after is in Malaysia, another day in Washington. The guy is now, for him, a world is just a global what? A global village, just because of his expertise in academic writing. And I gave you an example of somebody called Achille, is called Achille who? Mbembe. Chile Mbembe, one of his books has 20,000 citations, and he's just a global visiting professor, is a global figure, and he has gone very far. There are some topics you cannot talk about without citing Achille Mbembe. He's an authority in his area, and he has influenced very many people because of academic writing. So basically, and if you are writing now to the scholars, it means even the language you choose, it must be scholarly. It must be scholarly. And as I said, an academic paper also has its language and it has its structure. So you don't just write anything and you don't just write anyhow. It is the way we write academic papers. Is the way we write academic papers, and that's the end of my lecture. Now, any question, you can now post your questions in chat. Let me see. Some people are already posting. Let me look at what people are saying. You can post some questions. You can post some questions now. You can post some questions now. So let's continue doing the activities. As I said, this is online. In online teaching, we have what we call formative assessment. So in formative assessment, basically those activities you are doing matter a lot. Those activities you are doing matter a lot. Let's continue doing them. The password. This is a okay. Thank you for the question. Password is UCU 104 capital A. This is still part of. I've used capital A, not B. UCU. I can remember UCU 104 capital A, capital A. Yeah, that is your because you are part of Group what? This is group 11. This is group 11. You are part of 11A, or group 11A was part of you. Did I use B? Did I use B? No, I think I used A. Can you try A? Can you try A? Try A, but I think I've not used B. I'm trying to, to remember, but I doubt if I've used B. I think I've used A. It is A, isn't it? Anybody who has gone through? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Um, so for the cat, let's forget about it for a while now. And the reason why I'm also saying that, that's why I'm telling you, in online teaching, it's actually face to face where people do a lot of three cards and whatever. Those who have had experience with online teaching, um, actually, people don't do those cards. They don't sit for those cards. And finally, is asking, how do we receive grades? Um, they can select. They can select some of those activities you are doing. Like they can select even 5 of them, and then they give each 10, 10, 10, and you get 50. Yeah, that's how online teaching is done. And that's why I still insist on those activities. Um, mm, whether exams will be online or not, I think just give me some time. I think this is week 6. I think I will tell you at around week 9. That's when I will tell you whether the exam will be online or face to face. But just keep revising and ensure that you also have some notes. Ensure that you also write some notes. Ensure you have a book where you write some short notes for every topic. Sometimes I share slides, but sometimes you can also use those videos. You can also use those videos to make notes. Ideally, we are not allowed to share notes with you, but ideally, we are not allowed to share notes with you, but we'll see what we can do. Ensure you are making some notes so that in case you end up in a face-to-face exam, you are well prepared. Wacha niwaambie mapema. So time, um, people are given a face-to-face exam and they had not prepared because they thought it was going to be online. But even if it's online, make notes, please make notes and revise them. Like now, a topic like this one, of course, I will share this video with you. You can pause and take some notes, or you can go to the portal and make short notes. Mm? As you do the activities, make some short notes, have some notes, so that in case the exam becomes face to face, you have something to revise. Yeah, people are asking good questions. So Fanuel, I hope I've answered your question on how to receive grades. I know it's something new, but things are changing. Even with the CBC, things are changing. It will not just be about sitting for a cut, you cram a few things, you write there. Like what we are doing, those activities are more educative because you will watch the videos, you will watch pictures, you will do exercises. That is the best way to learn. And immediately you read, you do an exercise. That's how you learn. And that's why in most institutions, they just use you don't do sit for a cut. They can maybe do some presentations. They can do some presentations. Or they can use those activities inside there. The attendance is saying it is group. Yeah, it is group 11B. What's the problem? Brian, you belong to group 11B. What's the problem? Yeah. You people, you are group 11. Group 11 has been split into two. Group 11A in the morning at 10 because of forensic students. Yeah. Forensic students. Forensic students. And also we have actuarial science. They had never learned anything. Actuarial science had never learned anything. So I created a group for them. So password, you and password too. Password does not really say anything about A password can, you people, I think you people, a password can be anything you want it to be a password. So that's just what I want. That is all. But your group is 11B. That's where you belong. That's where you belong. That A on the password does not mean anything. It does not mean anything. It's just a password. First cut ni when? Nakwambia mambo ya 844 inaendelea kuisha. So kama wewe unaamini tu mambo ya 844, cut 1, cut 2, cut 3, 844 na nimeeleza hiyo kitu, mtu baada anauliza tu so hii vitu ya cut 1, cut 2, those things will end. Hata mtashangaa sana. You don't need to do a cut. There are other ways of evaluating people. It doesn't have to be ABCD. So hiyo nimejibu. Any other serious question on the content maybe? Ensure you sign the attendance before 6. If you sign after 6 p.m., you will not be able to sign. So those activities you are doing are equally important. Those activities you are doing are equally important. You don't need to wait for a cut where you cram a few things alafu ndio upewe 10 ndio useme I'm genius. Kuna kitu kama hiyo. We want more lifelong learning. But of course we will think about that. But msikae mkifikiria tu lazima cut 1, cut 1. Aya, Charles anauliza na if you belong to group 11B and 12. To 11B and what? 11B and 12. You don't belong to 11B and 12. You should either belong to 11B or group 12. Group 12 is Friday. Group 12 is the Friday class. And you need to know where you belong by now. You need to know where you belong because that's where you'll be graded. That's where you will be graded. So you cannot belong to group 11B and 12. You need to belong to one group. So thank you for attending. Thank you for attending. Continue doing the activities. I will open this session for you. Na tuendelee, tusikue na wasiwasi. Don't worry. Make some notes. Ensure you have some notes. But around week 9, I will now tell you whether the exam will be face-to-face or online. But so prepare whichever way. Let's prepare. And I want good performance. By the way, last year I also taught computer science. I taught the same groups, and they performed very well. So this year, I don't want people to let me down with the poor performance. If you find your colleagues who are in second year now, they performed very well. Like I remember even BBIT, yeah? Was it just one person who failed? Yeah? Yeah, and even that's why I even decided to choose this group again because they are very hardworking people. So sitaki kuletwa down. I don't want people to give me bad fails and all that. Ensure you take your notes. If you are somebody who likes videos, can also listen to them, understand, do activities. And somebody was asking for possible questions. I will look for some possible questions and maybe share with you on the group so that you see how questions are set. But don't worry, they just set from what you learn. Like that material on the portal and what we share in the videos, that's where exams are set. The exams are not complicated. They just set from what we teach you. Yeah. So just revise, understand the content, and move on well. And it will be well. It will be well with us. So have a great evening. Have a great evening. Na mambo yatakuwa sawa. Msikuwe na wasiwasi. Msikuwe na wasiwasi ati hamjafanya cut or whatever. Don't worry. It will be well. It will be well. Those activities are likely to be graded, and that's why I want to insist that you do all the activities week by week.